now. So if you've got any questions, put them to me. Put them to me. Live Q&A right here. ArsenalFanTV live. We've got no game this weekend. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. You know that? I really don't know. Hold on. I really don't know. Hold on. Watching myself live at the same time. This is what happens on live TV, right? But we've got no game this weekend, and I really don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Of course, the reason why we ain't got no game is because we were supposed to be playing Southampton, and Southampton are in the final of the EFL Cup against Manchester United. So come on, Southampton, right? So we got no game this weekend. So a blank weekend for Arsenal, and do you know what we could kind of do with it, just to try to recharge ourselves, and hopefully that team can come charging out for the next game. And do you know what I really wanted to ask people? This whole thing with Claudio Ranieri getting sacked. Amazing. The guy won the league last year and he's been sacked. Previous to that, Mourinho won the previous league and he got sacked. Now, I chatted to my brother about that this morning, and I was sort of saying that, first of all, I was thinking to myself, it's bad. You know, guys just won the league and, you know, they've removed him and, you know, all that sort of stuff. But then thinking about it, I was like, actually, the Leicester board, whether you like the decision or not, they've showed a lot of balls with this decision. You know, they want to stay in the Premier League and they've taken a tough decision. It would have been tough because I think they like Ranieri, but they've taken a tough decision to get rid of him. Now, our board, are they tough enough? And this is not a Wenger in or a Wenger out thing, but would they be tough enough to make that sort of decision if required? Or do you think that they're too comfortable, they're too soft? That's one of the questions I'd like to ask you, because you've got to say, when you see like what's happened to Ranieri, you've got to say that Arsene Wenger, and I'm not saying he should be sacked, but I couldn't see our board being as ruthless as that. And sometimes you do need to be a bit ruthless. But, you know, that's one of the questions I want to sort of put to you guys to find out what you think of that. Was that board over the top in their sacking of Ranieri? Now, Akpomed has asked this question. He said, £100 million in the summer, who would you buy, sell, and why? Who would I buy? I'd love to buy Griezmann. I mean, he's available. He's probably going to be available. Looks like he's going to go to Manchester United, but these are the things that get me really angry. We should be in for guys like Griezmann. Griezmann should be considering, I'm not saying he'd come to Arsenal, but we should be in the consideration for a player like Griezmann. And you know we won't be. We just won't be involved. And that infuriates me. Infuriated me when I heard Arsene Wenger say that we were interested in Kante, but then Chelsea came on. And almost as if we just gave up. That infuriates me. We've got guys at the club that are billionaires. Kroenke is a billionaire, right? And if he's not willing to spend that sort of money, then Usmanov is there, who'd love to run the club, who's richer than Abramovich, and could put Arsenal on a whole nother level. But if he came in, then a lot of those board members would probably go. He'd probably bring in all his own people. So they're never going to want to bring him in. But it infuriates me that players like Griezmann, you know, may be available, may be out there, and we can't buy him. And that would be the sort of player I'd be looking to buy. Whaley Egyptian Guna says, will you be coming down to Sydney for the Arsenal tour? Yes, we will. Really looking forward to that. I've never been to Australia before, so I'm looking forward to going to that. Arsenal also going to China. We're looking to do that as well. So yeah, we're going to be there. And, you know, I get a lot of correspondence from Gooners over there in Australia. They're really dedicated. The hours that they get up in the morning to watch games, sometimes watching a game, then going straight to work. Unreal. So we're going to be looking forward to going down to that. Aaron says, who do you see as the long-term replacement to Santikos? Oh, well, listen, the obvious one is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, but he's got to play in that position every week from now till the end of the season. That's where I want to see him. I was really, you know, put off to see him, you know, moved out again to the wing to accommodate Granit Xhaka in that previous game. For me, He was doing brilliant in that position, starting to develop into that position, and then we move him again. Put Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain right there, and let's see what he can do. The other obvious person to come into that role is Jack Wilshere when he comes back off of loan. You know, he can slot straight into that position. Or there's players we can buy. Now, the two that I'm thinking of is obviously Isco at Real Madrid. I also really like the look of this guy, Bernardo Silva, who I was watching very closely the other night for Monaco. He looks a proper player. Apparently, Arsenal had scouts looking at him. For me, he would be a very, very good buy. I bet he'd be very expensive as well. But Bernardo Silva of Monaco, I think, would be perfect for Arsenal in that sort of playmaking role. Girio says, if Wenger were to leave the club, should he retire or manage another club? If he was to leave the club, and Arsene Wenger's already said that he's going to manage somewhere next season, why couldn't he manage somewhere else if he left the club? I still think he's got it in him. I still think it could be a fact that he's been at Arsenal so long that maybe he needs a new challenge. So listen, I could definitely see him managing a club like a PSG or somebody like that. I wouldn't want to see him managing another club in England. I really wouldn't want to see that because he's such a legend at Arsenal. I want to see him either at Arsenal or somewhere abroad. But he's definitely England manager. I know Gareth Southgate's got that, but I think Wenger would have done a great job for England. So what's your thoughts on Allegri? Probably bring in Dybala and Tolisso if he signs for us. Well, if he bought those players with him, that would be brilliant, number one. Allegri would be a great signing for Arsenal. He's a winner. He's a well-respected manager. I like the way the other day he dealt with Bonucci by dropping him, so he's not scared to deal with the big players. And he's won, you know, back-to-back trophies. He's won back-to-back doubles. He's won with Juventus. I know Juventus are the best team in Italy. They've got the best players, but he is a top manager. So if Allegri was to come, would be a great shot. Alex O says, Robbie, why are you so bald? Got my hair's gone, bruv. My hair's gone. Daniel Parker says, who will be your shout for the next Arsenal manager, Robbie? He says he wants Joachim Löw. Joachim Löw would be a great shout. Experienced manager, won the World Cup. I've said it before, I like Sam Parley, the guy that's at Sevilla. I like his passion, his hunger. He's won back-to-back Copa Americas with Chile. He's doing wonders at the moment with Sevilla. I like him. I think he would be a guy who could come in and really get that team motoring. Simeone, of course. I love his passion. He would be great. Allegri. I think any of those for me would be perfect for Arsenal. Eddie17 Alexis said, would you like to see Marco Royce come to Arsenal next season? Marco Royce is a great player. I wouldn't mind seeing him at Arsenal, but I'd rather someone like a Griezmann, if I could get it. But Marco Royce is a great player. I'd rather Aubameyang, you know, the striker. One of those, you know, I'd prefer him to... Royce is a good player, but gets injured a lot. I'm actually going to watch Borussia Dortmund in a couple of weeks' time, so it'd be really good to see him up close and personal to see what he's really made of. David Rowan says, do you think that Arsenal have any chance of any success this year? Yeah, listen, looking like the FA Cup again is our best route, isn't it? We've got no chance in the Champions League. We're out of that. To make up 5-1 against a top team like Bayern Munich, no chance. So we're out of that. We're out of the league. So the only thing we got a chance of winning, of course, is only the FA Cup. And we, you know, got another non-league team in the quarterfinals. That means we beat that, we're in the semi-finals. So we've got a great chance of winning that. Listen, it's not what we want to win, but then we want to win something. So, you know, I'd love to see us win the FA Cup if we could do. Martin Wareham says, if we lose Sanchez, are we completely and utterly doomed, regardless of Wenger? It sets a precedent. No, listen, if we lose Alexis Sanchez, we're not doomed. It's one player. Arsenal Football Club goes on, regardless of whether we've got Alexis Sanchez or not, you know. But he's a brilliant player. He's a player that we should be building our squad around. We should be getting other players in there of his type of quality if we're going to win things. So it would be a disaster if we lost him. It wouldn't be the end of the world because you can go out there and buy other players. But certainly, for me, if you're trying to be an ambitious football club, you should be keeping hold of a player like Alexis Sanchez and adding players of similar quality to him. And when you do that, you've got a great chance of winning the league. What do we do with, this is Mezeira. He says, what do we do with Santikos? Do we sell him in the summer and buy a replacement or keep him or both? Well, he signed a new extension to his contract. I suppose, listen, if he's going to get fit next year, we keep hold of him, we see if we can get him back to fitness. But regardless of what happens with him, he's aging now, he's getting older. We need to buy a replacement. We need a replacement for Santikos. Is that Jack Wilshere? Is that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain? I don't know. As I said, I like this Bernardo Silva. Maybe that might be a great shout to bring in, but we definitely need somebody in. In your opinion, do you think Arsene Wenger will go or stay at the end of the season? That's coming from Capital Guna. Ooh, you know what? It's looking to me like Arsene Wenger wants to stay. And at the end of the season, if he won the FA Cup, I think I'm not saying the fans would want that, but he would decide to stay. Whether that's the right decision or not, I don't know. You know, because there just seems to me at Arsenal to be, everyone's in their comfort zone. The team, they're all comfortable. Mesut Ozil's comfortable. This player's comfortable. That, you know, the other day, last week at Sutton, you know, all right, I know they said Mesut Ozil had a back spasm thing, but, you know, take the time off. You know, you're all right. Comfortable. You know, the board, comfortable. 4th place, you know, we get, you know, win a trophy here and there. 4th place in the Champions League. Money's turning over. Comfortable. Nice. Cool. Smooth. The owner of the club rings up from America. How's it going over there? Yeah, everything's good. It's comfortable. We haven't won nothing, but it's all smooth, comfortable. The manager, Arsene Wenger, despite not winning the league, it's all comfortable. Don't worry. Yeah, your job's still there. Everything's nice. Maybe it needs a shake-up. It needs rattling around, and that comfort zone needs shaking. That's my opinion. It's all too comfortable at Arsenal. And I'm not sure maybe that should be the manager. Maybe it should be the board. But something needs shaking up there because it's all too comfortable. Tian says, what's your favourite away ground to go to? Ooh, favourite away ground in the Premier League. In the Premier League. It's a hard one, you know, because I've got different favourite away grounds for different reasons. White Hart Lane's not my favourite away ground. It's not the greatest away ground. It's a very hostile place to go to as an Arsenal fan, but I kind of love it because of that. And I love it because it's a derby game and it means so much and it's so nervy. But it's not my favourite away ground. I don't know, you know. I don't really have a standout favourite away ground, if I'm being honest. I kind of like the charm of Everton when you go there, even though we got beat there this year, but I kind of like the charm of that ground. I don't like where they put you on the side. I wish they put you behind the goal, but I kind of like the charm of Everton's old sort of wooden stadium. I like Bournemouth, yeah. I like Bournemouth because you're so close to everything that's happening. So I like Bournemouth. But I don't think I've got a standout one. Maybe I might go for Bournemouth because it's such a different ground, but you don't get enough allocation. Which club do you have the most respect for in England other than Arsenal? Whew. The most respect for in England other than Arsenal. Oh. The most respect for in England other than Arsenal. That's a tough question. You've got to have respect for Man United, haven't you? They're a big club, lot of tradition. I was going to say well run. Recent times hasn't been as well run as it should have been because they've switched owners and that, but there's tradition there. I've got a lot of respect for Liverpool as well, for similar reasons. You know, I mean, the history of the club, the fans, the way they get behind the team and stuff like that traditionally. So I say those two clubs, you've got to have a lot of respect for those two clubs. What they've achieved down the years. You know, even I don't listen. It's begrudgingly sometimes, but you have to have respect for those two clubs. Robbie, what do you think about Bellerin? What Bellerin said and what he will listen to offers from Barcelona if Arsene Wenger leaves. I don't know if that's strictly true. I mean, obviously a lot of these players, they like Arsene Wenger, but Bellerin signed a brand new contract. And even though you've got a lot of players saying, oh, if Arsene Wenger left, I'd consider my future. Well, then, you know what? Again, as I said, too comfortable. If that is what they felt if he left, then the new guy might want to bring in his own guys anyway. But we wouldn't want to be losing someone like Bellerin. We'd want somebody to come in and get the best out of him. So, and you know what? Listen, look at Chelsea last year. Look at their players. Look at Hazard. He was useless last year. Pedro was useless last year. Costa was useless last year. Fabregas was useless last year. You know? Remember that person held up that banner, the Free Rats? They were talking about getting rid of these guys. They're rubbish. Get them out of Chelsea, those fans were saying. Now look, those same players. Victor Moses. Look at how these players are playing under a new manager. Because they're out of their comfort zone. They've been shook up. So, you know. I'm going to do a couple more. H. Guna says, what do you think of Mbappe? Would you take him, Robbie, at Arsenal? I really like the look of him. He looked good the other night. He's quick. They call him the new Thierry Henry at Monaco. 18, and the way he finished that goal the other night, you know, he looks a mature player already. And I really, really like him. That'd be a good signing for Arsenal. Can I grab one more? Are you coming to New Zealand, Robbie? Not at the moment, unless you're inviting me. Nathan says, does Ty still believe that we're winning the quadruple? He probably does. TSL said that any decent manager would have Ox and Lucas start every game after their performances. We need a change. He's right. Lucas Perez has to start the next game. Every time the guys come on, he's done damage. I like Alex Iwobi. He's a top young player. But why is Lucas Perez not starting? I mean, I know that Iwobi, you can see one of the reasons Wenger likes him because he's a ball carrier. He can carry the ball long distances, take on players. But Lucas Perez is direct, scores goals. Put him in the next game, Arsene Wenger. He deserves his start right now. Jimmy says, Bergkamp or Henry? It's so close, but I've always been an Henry man. Henry was just like, when I used to be at Highbury, he was just like my favourite player. But it's so close because they're both so brilliant. Fun and Flit with Flair says, why don't you shut down the channel? That's serious, no, that's what you said. Why don't you shut down the channel? You know why? Because you're watching it. So why shut it down? Best atmosphere in the Premier League, says Cameron. Apart from Arsenal away fans, best atmosphere. Which ground's got the best away? Do you know what, right? I say this, every single ground in the Premier League, when the team's winning, the atmosphere is great. When the team's not doing so good, the atmosphere is flat. It's the same with every Premier League team. Every Premier League team needs to step up their atmosphere. Palace have got a great atmosphere because of their ultras behind the goal. So you've got to give it to them at the moment. Then who's going to get the last one? Invincibles versus the treble of 99. Treble of 99, obviously Man United. Easy. The Invincibles. Best ever. Right. Thanks for watching this Q&A. Thanks for subbing here to ArsenalFanTV. Make sure you sub to ArsenalFanTV. We'll be doing more of these live features here. And, you know, thank you very much. You know, just keep subscribing here to ArsenalFanTV. Really, really appreciate it. And listen, no game this weekend. What am I going to do? What am I going to do?